Hi everyone, and welcome to week 4 of your MOOC course on video games and learning. The pace and tempo of participation in the course is still at a high, so we're really excited to see this level of engagement. I wanted to, before introducing Dr. Sean Green and talking about this week's content, I wanted to give you a little bit of early preliminary feedback on the results from the assignment that we did last week. Now, if you recall, we had everyone diagram out their games and people social network. So take a look at how is it that games are sort of caught up in the social ecosystem of how and who we play with. Our early results are in, and here's what we've got so far. So in terms of descriptives, the average diagram is about 13 nodes. About half is people and half are games, about 6 people, 6 games. Now that's on average. That hides a lot of variance. So, for example, in number of people on nodes, they range from 0 to 30, and for games it ranged from 2 to 45. So you can tell that people have highly idiosyncratic kinds of ecosystems, social ecosystems in which they're gaming. Now, when you look at asking questions like what nodes, whether people or games, show up the most, it turns out that on average, game nodes appear somewhat heavier in the diagrams than people. Kind of makes sense given that this is a games and learning course, that we'd all be here as sort of a focus on the games that we play. And then when you ask the question, which kind of node organizes the network, so which kind of node acts as sort of a hub, it turns out that it's somewhat split between games being the main sort of organizer of that social network, or games plus people being equal organizers of that network. Let's take a look at 2 examples so I can show you what that means. Now, on the first screen, what you're seeing is, I've gone ahead and obscured the names of participants on the forum who've submitted this work. But on this first example, what you're seeing is a node in which you're really much more focused on people, and the individuals listed as nodes are actually organizing the ways in which the games are played. Contrast that with our second example, now up on screen, which shows a network in which games are kind of the main organizer for people. So you can start to see different patterns in how it is that the ecosystems for games and sociability are arising from folks' sort of everyday habits of play. So that gives you some preliminary results from the activity from last week, and we'll try to keep you posted as our new data comes in. Thanks for all of your active participation in these assignments. It's really exciting to see some of the results come in from these crowdsourcing activities. So on to this week. I want to introduce to you Dr. Sean Green. We're really focusing on Sean's work this week. In our course, we're going to focus on games and cognition. So very briefly, what we're going to have you do this week is complete a questionnaire and an activity for Sean Green's research. And then we will go through a series of videos of Sean. And we'll end on 3 different GIMG principles, again, principles for design, that will highlight some of the themes that come out of Sean's work. So I'm going to hand it over to Dr. Sean Green to introduce his activity a bit. Sean is actually a professor here in psychology at the University of Wisconsin-Madison and a really great colleague and faculty here.
Thanks. So you're going to be doing a couple of things this week in terms of activities. So first thing you're going to be doing is a questionnaire that just asks what types of games you play. So as you'll see, lots of the research that we do attempts to link the types of games people play to the types of changes that we see in their perceptual or cognitive abilities. So the first thing we need to know is just what types of games do you play? Do you play action games? Do you play shooter games? Do you play real-time strategy games? Then you'll be doing 2 kind of psych lab tasks. One is a visual search, kind of a basic perception task. You'll be hearing about this in the lectures. It's called the useful field of view visual search task. And then the second is a more cognitive task where you're asked to track multiple moving things at once. And so what we can then do is go back through everyone's data and determine, well, how did the type of games that they report playing actually relate to their abilities in perception or in cognition? So good luck with the activities, and I hope you enjoy the lectures.